Hi, everyone. I'm Meryl Stewart, CEO of Marketing and Business Solutions. And I wanted to talk today about leadership traits. We work with a number of clients, especially CEOs and members of boards, senior leadership team members who are always looking for ways to kind of better themselves as leaders. And it's really important in the work that we do from a marketing and revenue generation standpoint that leaders are really comfortable in the roles that they have, not just because it makes them a better leader, but it helps them lead their teams better. And if they can lead their teams better, then they can hold them accountable differently for, the work that needs to be done for their company or organization. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my leadership journey. I also wanted to talk a little bit about some characteristics that great leaders and good quality leaders tend to have, to maybe give you some things to aspire to. So I would not consider myself, I'd say I'm a leader in progress. There's been different times throughout my career in owning my own business and working with clients that I have found myself kind of rise to the occasion of being a great leader and operating with integrity and being really good about listening to what others have to say and communication. But then there's some other places that I know I fall short. It's always hard for me to delegate. I've gotten better over the last couple years in delegating to other members beyond our team, vendors, people that we need help, their help and expertise in order to deliver what our clients need. But that's not necessarily something I dive into first or easily. A lot of times I really have to think about delegating. I have to prep myself for that. I have to get myself excited about doing that because in my head, it's easier for me to just do everything. But to run a business and to lead others, you have to depend on them and you have to be able to depend on their expertise and really allow their talents to shine through, which is something I know in my heart I want, but from a process perspective, that becomes a little bit more difficult in practice for me. Something else that I think I'm still learning is to find gratitude in things, to find gratitude in the work that other people do, to find gratitude in experiences that I have personally and professionally. And most good leaders or qualities of a good leader, is that they kind of embrace gratitude as something in kind of a daily practice. So I'm working on that. So some of the other characteristics of great quality leaders, we talked about integrity, and I think it's really important that you stick to your values, you stick to what you say you're going to do, you really kind of, under promise, over deliver, but always that it's aligned with your values. It feels good and natural and right to be doing what it is that you're doing, and that you don't have to fake it or find some other kind of way to cover up, what you're doing because there's other shortfalls that you may have personally or emotionally or whatever that looks like. And we all have them. None of us are perfect, but operating in integrity is a really important thing for me. It's also something that we look for in the clients that we take on, that the people who are at the top level are operating in that space, because it makes it a lot easier to have a dialogue and communication about what needs to be changed and what can be better if we're all operating from the same kind of foundation of integrity. The second, piece is the ability to delegate. I struggle with it. I'm still working on it. But the ability to delegate to others is really important. We have a couple clients right now where our leaders are struggling to do that. Are maybe smaller shops. The leaders have had to take on a lot themselves and wear many different hats and play many different roles. But I think it's important to remind ourselves that we're not good at everything. And it's okay that we're not good at everything, but there's others that are, and those people can rise to the occasion to help us be successful and help themselves to be successful and focus on kind of what the future of a company or organization is trying to achieve. So really kind of coming to terms with what you're good at and what you're not good at is really important. And I think that helps us delegate easier and kind of absorb that a little bit better when we know that, look, we're not good at everything. And someone else, can really kind of take that spotlight in that space to shine, because that's why we brought them on the team in the first place. The third thing that I wanted to talk about is communication. One of the things I see personally with many clients that we work with is a lack of communication. There's kind of this assumption, even right now, where workspaces are virtual or in person, or it's constantly kind of changing with what's happening in our world. Communication is so vitally important, and I think a lot of times we assume that everybody on the team knows what's going on, or we assume that certain people are in the know and others may not be. But simple communication with your teams can be, game changing. And in the sense that if people feel included, if people feel like they are in the know about what's happening, they're more likely to then act in the way that you're hoping that they will. If they don't know, it's really hard for them to respond to situations in a way where it's proactive. It becomes defensive. It becomes, well, I didn't know that. How am I supposed to do it? Really focusing on helping them come along with the changes or expectations or goals that might be happening within an organization are really important. The other piece of that is to tell them when they're doing something wrong. Holding each other accountable for what's supposed to be going on is just as vital as keeping people in know about things that are happening within an organization or a company. And with that, I think comes the fourth piece of this, which is self-awareness. A lot of us, you may be self-aware of what you do and why you do it and how. I know I've spent personally a lot of time on self-awareness, and I'm very comfortable with who I am and my shortcomings to a degree. But many people are not self-aware. They don't understand that something that they're doing is creating a reaction to something else. They might think that that's happening because of other reasons. And so finding ways to be able to talk to each other within your team, within your leadership, even the CEO, as a leader, if there isn't someone to bounce something off of within the organization, or maybe that's not appropriate, finding someone outside of the organization to talk to about what challenges you're coming up against, and maybe behaviors or things that you're doing that might be impacting that, so that you can learn about self-awareness. You can learn about what it is that you can change about yourself or your actions or your reactions to better serve the rest of your team, organization, company. I think those are important things. And the last thing I'll talk about is gratitude. And I said before, I'm still learning how to do this. Finding gratitude in small things. A lot of times we might be working on complicated projects, things that have lots of moving pieces, and it can get really frustrating, at times. And sometimes we forget to not only find gratitude for ourselves and what in the work that we're doing in things, but also providing gratitude to those who are also working on the project, like your employees or your other team members or your contractors or your vendors, and thanking them for the work that they're doing and letting them know that you appreciate them. That goes such a long way. A lot of times, in our business, we are talking to leaders about making sure that's a vital part of their strategic focus and their strategic plans and their communication objectives, to make sure they're inserting ways to provide gratitude and appreciation to their audiences, to their team, to their employees, and everybody else. But then there's also kind of some self-gratitude, to be able to recognize things as they come and be thankful and appreciative of that in whatever form that takes. And I'm still practicing that. So I hope these were helpful for you. I hope that you kind of take some of this to heart to weave into your daily routines, to be thinking about a little bit differently as you're working with your organizations or your companies. And as always, if you'd like to learn more about what we do, please visit www.mymabs.com. That's MYMABS.com. Also, you can leave comments in any of our post links. Happy to respond and point you in the right direction if it's not something I can directly help you with. But we appreciate your time, and I appreciate you watching, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks. Bye.